In this video, we're going to look at the homework questions from Unit 7, Day 2, and we're going to practice the skill expanding. Now, technically, we're not expanding to standard form. That's going to be the next step, and we're going to do that in the next video, where we go from vertex form of our equation to standard form, and that'll be explained there. But we need to make sure we understand what does it mean to expand, and how do we do that skill. All they really mean by expand here is we're going to multiply things together, and we're going to kind of make it bigger. So we're going to start with our two brackets here. We're going to multiply them together, and we're going to end up with a expression in a different form. So expand just means to multiply, and we're going to use a process that we describe using FOIL. And that's kind of hard to read. I'll write that a little darker. You may have heard of FOIL before in grade 10 or in another class, and that's just a tool to help us remember how to expand brackets. So let's take a look. We're going to expand and simplify. That means multiply together and then collect like terms, x plus 7 and x plus 1. How am I going to do that? How do I multiply expressions together? Well, FOIL is the tool or the trick that helps us remember. We start by multiplying the first term in each bracket. So x times x. So x is going to be multiplied by x. We're going to get x squared. Next, we do the outside terms. So coming in from the outside, x and 1. X times positive 1 is positive x. All right, we've done our first and our outside. Next, we do our inside terms. So on the inside, I have 7 and x. So 7 times x is 7x. And finally, I do my last terms. 7 times positive 1 is 7. All right, we've already expanded. All that's left to do is simplify, which means collect like terms. So I have my x squared here. Are there any other x squareds? No. So I just write the x squared. Next, I have x. Do I have any more x's? Yes. There's always going to be, or not always, but in this case, we have another x. So x and 7x gives me a total of 8 x's. And then the constants are just regular numbers. Do I have any more? No, just the 7. And there we go. That's it. We're done. So expanding just means multiplying, and simplifying means collecting like terms. So we multiplied our brackets together, and I was able to express it as x squared plus 8x plus 7. So that is equal to x plus 7 times x plus 1. Let's think about it another way. Imagine we have 4 and 2, and we multiply it together and get 8. It's the same idea. We have brackets, we had two separate terms, or two things we're multiplying together, and then in the end, we just write what it multiplies to equal. So same thing here. We just wrote what we get when we multiply these together. So this is the product. This is the thing we get when we multiply things together, and these are our factors. Factors are things that we multiply together to get a product. So expanding means taking the factors and multiplying them to find the final product. Let's do a couple more examples. Basically, this whole worksheet is just the same thing, so I'm just going to pick and choose a couple questions here and there. So we did A. Let's try C. You don't need to write FOIL. It's just a tool to help us remember. Let's go ahead. We're going to start with our first terms. So I'm going to have 2x times x. So I'm going to have 2x squared. I'm going to multiply my outside terms. 2x times 3 is 6x. I'm going to multiply my inside terms. 1 times x is 1x, or just x. And 1 times 3 for my last is 3. Let's collect our like terms. I only have 1x squared, or like one term that has an x squared. I have two terms with x's, so 6x plus 1x is 7x. And then my number is 3. Let's try again with E. First terms, 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 2 is 6x. 2 plus 3x is 6x. And 2 times 2 is 4. Collect our like terms there in the middle. 9x squared plus 12x plus 4. What did you notice about E? It turns out the factors are the same. Each bracket is exactly the same, which means I also could have written this as 3x plus 2 squared. So this is not a final answer. It's just another way of rephrasing or expressing the factors. So this is our factors, this is another way of writing the factors, and this is our product here where we've expanded and simplified. Question 2 is extremely similar to question 1. I'm going to move right to question 3. No, even that's basically the same. I'm going to move to question 4. All right, we just talked about what that squared means. It means the same thing times itself. So let's rephrase the question. 4a asks us to expand and simplify x plus 5 squared. Let's start by rewriting this as x plus 5 times x plus 5. All right, so let's do FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times 5 is plus 5x. 5 times x is plus 5x. And 5 times 5 is 25. So we're going to get x squared plus 10x plus 25. And you'll notice there is a pattern when we're squaring. When it's the same term times the same term, we can actually do this without doing FOIL. Let's take a look at that really quickly. So what I can do, I'm kind of going to go straight from here to our answer, is the first term is squared, x squared. This number is doubled, so 5 becomes 10. And our last number is squared. It doesn't really save you a lot of time. We're not going to be doing much more with this because we're at the end of the semester. So don't worry about learning that pattern if you don't want. Just know that it is there. And when we're just squaring, when we're expanding the same thing times itself, the same factor times itself, there is a shortcut to get to the product right away. Let's do FOIL a couple more times, though, and finish up this question with 1 or 2 more examples. X minus 3 squared, we're going to express as x minus 3 times x minus 3. Let's expand using FOIL as our steps to remember. First, x times x is x squared. Outside, x times negative 3 is negative 3x. Inside, negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And last, negative 3 times negative 3 is plus 9. Collect our like terms. X squared minus 6x plus 9. Question C is a little different. We just have an extra step here. So we're actually going to ignore this for a moment. Let's just deal with the x plus 6 squared. So x plus 6 times x plus 6. And then like over here is the minus 4. Let's FOIL. X squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 36 minus 4. X squared plus 12x plus 36. We can kind of bring the minus 4 back in now. And let's finish collecting our like terms. X squared plus 12x plus 36 minus 4 is plus 32. And let's do 4e as our final example. Same idea. We kind of ignored the negative 8. It just hangs off to the side for a while. So we're going to have 3x plus 4 times 3x plus 4 minus 8. FOIL, 9x squared plus 12x plus 12x plus 16 minus 8. Let's collect our like terms. There are 2 sets. We have 2 terms with an x and 2 terms that are just numbers. So we're going to get 9x squared plus 12x plus 12x is 24x plus 16 minus 8 is minus 8. And there we go. That is expanding and simplifying, and that'll be a useful tool when we are converting from standard form to vertex form, which you'll see in the next video, which I've actually already made. So go ahead and watch that one. Next, for next steps.